Welcome back. You tuned into Inspired Afternoon with me, your host, Mariam Mia. And my apologies to all our listeners, especially to our guest, Richard Erasmus from Lawn Pro. My apologies for keeping you waiting, but welcome and good afternoon, and welcome to Inspired Afternoons.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure. So, for the favorite part for summer for me is walking on that luscious green lawn. In fact, not even walking, just closing my eyes and feeling those soft blades and a little moisture and water vapor. And it just makes you feel so nice and grounded, and you feel connected to the earth and makes you feel happy and actually revitalizes and revives you. But the thing is, to get to that point, the lawn needs lots of TLC. So, I mean, that's the end product. But it's a labor of love to get to that point. And that's why I said, now going into summer, how do we take care of our lawn so that I can get that summer lawn experience?
Well, with the rains now finally arriving, and obviously it's causing us some technical difficulties on your side, it also brings its own problems that you need to take care of first. And as soon as the rains come, the first thing that we normally would deal with on a lawn is weeds, because we've got weed seed germination happening. So that's the first thing that we normally would take care of when we're looking after a lawn. And then there's also insects. This time of year, it's the breeding time of the year for stuff like, for example, mole crickets. So we'll typically look after that. And, as the season progresses, we'll sit with problems like lawn caterpillar that we then also look after. But the main thing is, you can start now looking after lawn, applying the right fertilizers, making sure that your watering is done correctly, and then obviously also following the right mowing instructions.
Okay, so let's start with the weeds now, because I've noticed that on my lawn as well. What is the best way and also the most environmentally friendly way in terms of dealing with your weed problem?
Well, the thing is, unfortunately, in South Africa, we've got to make use of chemical products to take care of weeds. However, most of these products are very, very safe to use if used correctly and according to the instructions that people that they would prescribe. The main thing is, firstly, to identify the weed that you're dealing with. And there are typically two types of weeds that you need to look at. The first thing is what we call a dicot, which is a broadleaf weed. And then we've got what we refer to as a monocot, which is a weed which leaves look very similar to that of a grass plant. So that's the first thing that you need to do, is to identify that weed. Is it a broadleaf or is it a monocot where it looks similar to your grass? Thereafter, you need to decide where you want to control this weed. Is it in between a lawn or is it on a paved area? And by looking at all of that, you'll be able to determine what product to use and what would work best. And there are various products on the market, and I can tell you now that most of the products, in fact, all the products that are commercially available are safe to use if used correctly.
Okay, so best if you identify this, maybe take some photos, go to a company that specializes in this, maybe contact Lawn Pro in that, and we show you photos of what your problem is and get some professional advice before doing a DIY job.
Yes, definitely. What we do is, if we're not in a specific area where people reside and they've got a weed problem, we would typically ask them to take some photographs, send it to us. We'll help them to identify the weed. And then as they go to the nursery, they're welcome to phone us directly from the nursery, and we'll be able to assist them in buying the right product.
Okay, then let's go into the insect problem now in terms of this. And then also what I found in my lawn is those little moles that the ants come up from underground, and then so you see those little mini ant heaps of soil coming there like this. Is that safe? Do those ants harm your grass, or there's nothing to worry about?
Look, the main harm that an ant can cause to a lawn is actually more to do with erosion, because they take soil out of the grass, they bring it up, and then as soon as we get all these rains, then the soil washes away. So erosion can become a problem if you've got a massive ant issue. But this time of year, our main focus at Lawn Pro, if we look at our gardens, our main focus would be to look after stuff like I mentioned earlier, mole crickets, lawn caterpillar, beetles, grubs, that type of stuff. Now, again, the products are very safe to use if used correctly. However, when it comes to products that are commercially available to the homeowner, those products need to be applied on a very regular basis. It's not a product or a problem that you can apply the product once and it's gone forever. You need to repeat that application. Again, we can assist you in identifying your insect problem, and then we can recommend what to apply. What we do a little bit different in Lawn Pro is we make use of products that you need to be registered with the Department of Agriculture if you want to apply these products. Not saying that these products are harmful, but they need to be regulated a little bit more intensively. But our products last for longer periods of time. We've got certain products that can last up to a year. But most generally, all our products last between 13 and 16 weeks when we apply them.
Okay. Thereafter, I need to ask you, cutting of the lawn, in terms of that, because I know sometimes they say if you cut it really, really short, you're going to burn the grass in it. So when you're cutting your lawn, what's the optimal level for the blade of grass from the soil to the height of it?
Yes. Look, again, that's determined by the type of grass that you have. Now, in South Africa, we've got a couple of species of grass. We've got kikuyu, we've got alum, we've got what we refer to as cynodon or couch grass. And your cutting height is always, determined by the species of lawn first. Secondly, where that lawn is growing. And then thirdly, what you want to achieve with that grass. Is it a sports field? Is it a home lawn? And the big rule of thumb to always follow is never to cut off more than 1/3 of the leaf blade. Never cut off more than 1/3 of the leaf blade. That's the first thing. And then secondly, if you've got a grass growing in a shady area or a semi-shaded area, it's always recommended to cut that grass type that you're going to plant there. Cut it longer. Don't use cylinder mowers. Use a normal rotary mower to cut your grass, because you can set the cutting height a little bit longer. What people need to understand is that lawn works like a solar panel. The bigger the leaf area, the more energy it can produce through photosynthesis, and the more energy it can produce, the better it will grow. And the better your roots will develop. And the stronger root system you've got, the better your lawn will look.
Okay. And then one last thing I need to know in terms of watering, especially in light of, South Africa is a water scarce country. And as much as we'd like to water our gardens, optimal level, we also have to be wary in terms of water as being a precious resource. So how often should we be watering? Also, when we have a good downpour, how long will that suffice? 2 days, 3 days before we water again? How do we balance it?
Again, we're dealing with nature, so it is a little bit difficult to answer that question just straight off the bat. But if it all depends on your soil conditions. If you've got a more clayish type of soil, you can water less, because that soil retains the water a little bit better than, for example, a lawn with a sandy soil. Okay, so that's the first thing. And then secondly, I can't tell you after a downpour how long it will last, because on one lawn it might last you a week, and on the next lawn it might last you a day. So that is all determined by the soil. And I get asked this question quite a lot, where people will ask us, how long should I switch on my irrigation system to run? And that again is very difficult to answer. And to use an example, I can take this water bottle. I don't know if you guys can see it.
Oh, we can see it, yes.
And it's like asking me how long it will take to fill up this water bottle. It depends on how much water comes through that tap. So you've got to go and measure, first of all, how long it will take to fill up a bucket or a container like this up to 2.5 centimeters deep. So let's say it takes you 10 minutes to fill it up. switching on your sprinklers, putting it down, and it takes you 10 minutes to fill it up 2.5 centimeters. Then you know that's the optimum amount of water that you need to give. And then your soil type will determine how often you should do it. So if you've got a sandy soil, you're going to need to do it 3 times a week. If you've got a clay soil, you can do it once a week. And if you've got loam soil, you can maybe go down to twice a week. And that's all that a lawn requires. People tend to think that a lawn requires a lot of water. I can bet you now plants require more water than lawn.
Yeah, easier to maintain that. So thanks so much, because I think you've given us sage advice, valuable tips in terms of maintaining our lawn throughout this summer period, in terms of identifying weeds, insects, and watering. Is there anything else that we need to be aware of, cognizant, that I have left out in ensuring a beautiful summer lush green lawn?
I think the most important thing is, go talk to your nursery or contact Lawn Pro. We're available almost 24 hours a day, and we've got lots of staff members, so you're welcome to phone any of us. You can find us on Facebook, Lawn Pro SA, or you can find us on Google as well. Talk to people, ask them questions, and we'll help you. And, to end it off with, I think the main thing is buying the correct fertilizer. That's very important. This time of year, you can concentrate on fertilizers with higher nitrogen levels. And then during winter, we'll look after the roots, and then we'll look at stuff like potassium and phosphorus. But this time of year, nitrogen levels must be up. And if you've got any questions, you're welcome to contact us anytime.
Thanks so much for giving us your time, and apologies again for keeping you waiting while we got the gremlins in the system. It's beyond our control. As much as we like technology, we become at the mercy to technology sometimes. All the fantastic technology you have, but when it doesn't work, then you're in the dark. So thanks so much. It's been a pleasure. Good afternoon.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me, and have a wonderful afternoon.
Okay, we're going to go for a short break. And when we get back, we're going to have that discussion on the samosa run. So all this after the break.